Crystal meth and Adderall. The difference between meth and Adderall. One is an amphetamine salt, one's the methamphetamines. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not any of that stuff. I'm not a professional when it comes to this, but I have done both. And I'll share with you how it was for me. And again, this is my experience of what the difference between Adderall is to how meth is and how it feels differently. Because to me, they are not the same drug. But they do have a lot of similar effects. And if you look at the chemical breakdown of both, you'll notice that chemically they are not the same. That's science on that end. But this is my experience of the difference between meth and Adderall and how it affected me. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. What's up, guys? My name is Eric, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, I'm none of that. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, GAD, MDD. Those are my diagnoses. I have level 1 autism. I lost a wife and a father to suicide. I attempted suicide. I self-harmed before. I'm a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict. One of the things is I've been prescribed Adderall most of my life. I'm 42 right now. I got prescribed Adderall at 18. Adderall and meth to me are two different drugs, and they work very differently and they feel different to me. So I've done meth a few times. Meth was never my drug of choice. People would lay down meth and I'd snort it up because my nose is a vacuum, and with doing coke, I like to put everything up my nose, but I hated meth because of how it burned. The biggest difference I noticed though between the two is Adderall is gradually released into your system. It's kind of like my brain has glasses on it. If you know anything about ADHD, your brain and your thought process is all over the place, and just trying to focus on stuff is difficult. It's a challenge. It's mentally exhausting trying to focus on stuff and to try and get things done. Try and get motivated to stop this thought process going to actually moving forward. And when I take Adderall, I take it usually around 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and it carries me through, that's 10 milligrams till about noon, and then I take another 10 milligrams, and that carries me through the rest of the day. And it's a very even keel. I don't feel these highs and lows. I don't go through any mad excitement to any kind of drop. It doesn't massively affect my appetite. And I'm able to function as an adult. I'm able to do a to-do list and just be very, very functioning as an adult. With doing meth hit my system, it slammed my system. I'm gonna put it that way. Instead of Adderall, it feels like you're on a roller coaster and you can kind of feel it starting to kick in as your roller coaster is going up and you're being pulled up that first hill. Meth just dropped you off the edge. I've only snorted meth. I've never smoked meth or injected it or anything. But meth hit my system super quick, and it was like a dirty high. It was like a dirty Adderall is the best way I can describe it. Like I felt just inside, like I kind of wanted to tear off my skin. I could feel my brain focus in. So it had that same effect like Adderall did. Like I could get my thought process focused and almost become hyper-focused on things. But I was very jittery at the same time. Rambling, just nonsense. I remember being at a party. You're not. This doesn't work. You're none of your stuff works. But you become super hypersexual. Just a mad amount of energy and like they call it tweaking out because it's tweaking out. With Adderall, it's just very gradual, and it's this consistent, just kind of focus. It's like having glasses on when you can't see, and now you can see and make it through your day. With meth, it was just this. It hit my system like just a smash into the chest, into the head. Focus, upset at myself, just pissed off at myself that I ended up doing this drug because I was scared of meth. I've always been scared of meth. And I never wanted to do meth. And so it was constant, like just very just defeating. You don't feel the effects of alcohol because I always drank massively whenever I was doing cocaine. But the weirdest part was I could tell that I was high. I could tell that this had those kind of same effects. Everybody was like playing Guitar Hero and all this other stuff and like just tweaking out. Where with me, I was like, okay, well, what am I gonna do next? Like, well, let's play pool. And I'm like thinking stuff through, but it was like a dirty focus. I didn't like how it made my skin feel. I didn't like how it made my heart feel. Like I could just feel the circulation going through me. Didn't like any of those feelings. Where with Adderall, I don't mind how my body feels. I understand how my body feels. I understand how my appetite is. I understand how my focus shifts from left to right to this task, to the next task, to the next task. Where with meth, there was no task. And plus, you're in a different mindset when you're doing drugs. When I was massively doing all these drugs, I wasn't in the mindset to be productive. Where all of a sudden now I'm almost like forced to be productive. And so it was a big struggle for me. I hated the feeling of it. I understand how people just pick and pull and stuff at their skin. You kind of get the lockjaw. Hated the drip of it. just didn't like any of it. Didn't like how it made me feel. I didn't like the paranoia. I don't get paranoid on Adderall. I did get paranoid on meth, where I was just like, well, shit, what if this, what if this? Like a lot of anxiety crept in with meth. Where with Adderall, I'm very aware of how it affects me, and that might just be because I've been on Adderall for a very long time. That there is no paranoia. It's not an illegal drug. It's something I'm prescribed. It's something that helps me, and I've become very used to how it works in my system. Where with meth, it was like, man, okay, we got to just fight through it. I mean, I remember going to my brain, okay, we just got to fight through this. It is going to subside eventually. And the thing with meth that I was grateful for, though, is I didn't constantly keep doing it because it did affect me in the same way with Adderall. Where with just like with Adderall, I don't keep popping Adderall like Skittles. That's not a drug of choice of me. It's my respected medication. I take it as prescribed. Where even with meth, it was like, okay, this is making me feel this way. I understand the feeling, the focus. I don't like how I feel and my body feels and my mind feels, so I'm not going to do anymore. And it was with Coke, I couldn't ever turn off that faucet. I could never turn off that knob. I just kept doing more and more and just kept chasing that high, chasing that high. With meth, it was almost like kind of a familiar high. I hated, though, how it felt. And so I didn't want to do it anymore. And so I was able to put the brakes on it real quick. So that is how meth really feels. I mean, the easiest way I can explain the difference is it's like a dirty high. And it's an overly hyper-focused high. With Adderall, I don't get hyper-focused. So that to me is the biggest differences between the two and how they acted. Again, I could have probably been a little bit productive. I understand how people can clean and everything on meth, but you still get distracted because of like this hyper focus does shift. And again, it's a drug that most people are making in fucking bathtubs. So I mean, that's the reality of it. Again, this is not any professional of, hey, this is scientifically how these are different. This is just my opinion, and yes, they are different. Yes, they affect your body different. Yes, they affect your brain different, so there are differences between the two. And all I do is I like to share my experiences, my story for the one out there struggling, for the one out there going through it, to know that what you're going through, you're not alone, because that's the biggest struggle. I mean, I've been sober since 7/25/17, alcohol and cocaine, my hardcore drugs of choice. And you realize that when you do get sober and you do fight through this, that life does get better. So, I mean, if you're out there struggling, this is just to let you know that you're not alone. If you haven't hit that like and follow button, hit the like and follow button, comment down below whatever your opinions are, what your experiences are, because that's so much what it's about, is sharing your experiences, sharing your opinions, sharing everything so that we know we're not alone. Dude! Oh, nothing. She's just like attacking the thing. But hit the like and follow button, share your experiences. It's nice to know that we're not alone, and that when we're going through this, that it does get better, that it's worth that fight, because I understand. And if you are trying to get sober, the most important thing is to reach out to everybody, let them know that you're struggling, let them know that you're suffering, and ask them for help. Again, if I can get sober, you can get sober. So don't give up, because what you're going through right now, it gets a lot better, believe me.